Well, we're done. And shot two. We'll see how I feel over the next, 24 to 48 hours. Hey, everyone. I don't want to be wrong about this, and maybe it's different for you, but it feels like we are finally turning a corner with COVID. People, at least everywhere I live and where I go, people are taking it seriously. People are masking now and not pushing back. People are social distancing, and people are finally getting vaccinated. A lot of my family are frontline healthcare workers, so they were right up in the initial stages. And also, of course, I've got family that are older, including my mom and dad. My dad was at the VA today getting his second shot. So that's going wonderfully. It's nice to know that people are getting the jab, and I am actually going to tell you that I have as well now. So there's that. Yeah, so some of you may have seen this thread on Twitter where I was actually talking about it when Tara and I got contacted. We don't get into this a lot publicly, right? We do a lot of work with the unhoused, though. We work at a community services organization. I don't think that's the kind of thing you should like tweet for clout, the way people, like when someone buys an apartment for a housekeeper and they like shove a camera in their face, or they look at me, we left this amazing tip for the local barber and made her day. Like, you can do that shit without actually sharing it on social media. But we got contacted. And they said, hey, everyone who works in the soup kitchens and the volunteers, you're in the current queue, go ahead and show up. And a lot of people in my age bracket don't feel right about it. I'm youngish, I'm healthy. Couldn't it go to someone better? For those of you who aren't aware, like, the ethics are pretty in on this one. There's a lot of articles about this now. If you get a slot and there's room, you take the slot. For those who don't know about vaccine spoilage, which I didn't understand before this started, I was like, how do they waste vaccine? Well, this is a good analogy, and someone explained it to me. If you didn't keep eggs in the fridge, if you kept your eggs in the freezer, right? Like, that's just where you keep eggs. But if you're going to bake or cook breakfast, like, you need those eggs to be thawed out. So the night before, you're going to need some eggs. You put them in the fridge, and you wake up 12 hours later, the eggs have come up to temp slightly. Now you're on the clock. You got to use those eggs. I hope you're not just making 2 eggs for yourself and fucking off the rest of the day, because the rest of those eggs are boned at this point. You can't refreeze them. That's how vaccine distribution works. They take things out of deep storage, and then they are on the clock. So if you don't take the slot and someone else doesn't take the slot, that's how we've been having wastage. That's something we got to avoid. So I looked at the website, and God love Washington State, man. They just have their shit together. There were tons of open spaces. I picked one. I showed up. There was not much of a line. There were wonderful sentiments from people at the adjacent buildings, and it was straightforward. It was get you in, get you out, get you jabbed. And there I was. Then I started seeing the real disappointing reports, right? The anti-vax protesters who are interfering with the operations of medical professionals, many of whom, if you're not aware, have been tied directly to participants at the January 6th riots. So it's a rich tapestry of nut bars and science illiterate dumbasses who get a lot of publicity because they're public figures, like expressing vaccine hesitancy.
You taking that vaccine?
No.
Yeah.
No, I would if I felt like I needed it.
I was like really dejected about this. So much so that I decided that 28 days later, when I went back in for shot number 2, I was going to talk about it publicly. There are a lot of people concerned about what are the side effects, what are the impacts, does it hurt you, is it bad, is it hard, is it rough? Newsflash, every medical intervention that science has developed since the beginning of humanity has side effects, and it can have complications. The question is not whether or not side effects exist. That's not how science works. The question is, how bad are the side effects, and how prevalent are they across the population? And on balance, are they worse or better than the medical intervention and its outcomes? And I wanted to try to demonstrate to people that what I have been reading is that the side effects are brief and not that bad. Most of the time, and this was my experience, you feel like you're sick without being sick. It sounds so dissonant, right? But that's what it's really like. That's what it was like for me. Perversely, the healthier your immune system is, the more pronounced your immunoresponse is going to be. So a lot of the elderly, a lot of kids don't have the sort of rough ride for a day or so that I and others like me have experienced. But I wanted to explain it. I wanted to share it with all of you. So what I did is when I went in for shot number 2, after that, I did little recordings every 6 hours, just how I was doing, how I was feeling, and I wanted to share them with all of you so you know what to expect when you get your shot. Well, we're done. And shot 2. We'll see how I feel over the next, I guess, 24 to 48 hours. Feels good right now. Just keep working that arm. Well, it's been 6 hours. I feel absolutely fine so far. No pain, no tenderness at the site. Just doing okay. We'll see how it goes this evening. 6 hours later, still feeling great. No worries yet. Waiting for the effects to kick in, as people say, but no symptom feelings at all. We'll see how I am. Maybe in the morning. I might crash out soon. Well, I woke up feeling worse, we'll say. Not terrible. Just achy, sore kind of thing. Actually, I woke up at like the middle of the night, like 4:35 in the morning, something like that. And I felt crappy. I was shivery, cold. My arm was pretty sore. I had to roll over. Yeah, no, it's freaking winter, right? We got this Arctic blast going on. I had to bump the heat up a little bit. Got some fluid in me. Yeah. All right, hold up. I should interject here, right? We're approaching basically vaccine plus 24-hour mark for me. And this was about the roughest part I experienced. I'm kind of playing it cool maybe in that clip because I was making these clips a little bit for family as well. I felt pretty crappy. Middle of the night when I woke up, I had chills. At that point, I had a fever. I had a 99.7 degree fever. I usually run pretty cool on my body temp, like well below 98.6. But yeah, I just felt achy. I was shivering. I felt a little nauseated. And, you know, I just dealt with it, right? Like I kicked up the heat a little bit. I put on another blanket. I had awakened from this weird fever dream that I was having that was so bizarre that I actually fumbled for my phone and like voice dictated an email to myself describing what my dream had been. And it was all kinds of out there. But yeah, compared to getting COVID, I will take the Moderna. Back to the play-by-play. I still don't feel great. I don't feel sick. I mean, people say, you know, you feel flu-ish. It's not exactly it. I honestly, the closest I could make an analogy, it's like if you went to a really rough rock concert the night before and you were kind of headbanging and dancing around a lot and probably drinking too much, and like you're my age now, like so you're too old for it. So feeling that way that you would feel the next morning, kind of just a little bit beat the hell up, like on the edge of a headache, but not quite a headache. But I'm doing okay. You know, I got up. If I had my druthers, I would have just stayed in bed. But I've kind of like, no, let's have a real day here. Drag myself out. Took a proper shower for a while. Ate some proper food. Walked around a bit. Put on real clothes, and just being vertical. It helps. Arm sore mildly. Like it feels like I took a punch in the arm. That's the common with a lot of IM injections, right? Doing better than a lot of folk. Other folk have done better than me. All in all, I would not choose anything else. I don't regret this in the least. We'll see how I am in about 6 hours. All right, been another 6 hours. Feeling better every bit. It keeps coming in waves. I thought I was going to be great after, you know, this kind of morning, early afternoon. And then it just wham, just got tired. I was in bed, you know, reading, and I passed out. Just passed out cold. Woke up a couple hours later. Yeah, that's just sort of how it's been going. It's so weird. It's like being sick without being sick. Your whole body feels sick. You just feel crappy and tired. And like sometimes I get really hungry and sometimes I just feel a little nauseous or whatever. But in your head, nothing. No stuffiness, no sinus pressure, no ear pain, none of this. So yeah, it's the biggest, weirdest disconnect. But I'm doing okay. I hope that it just keeps on getting better from here. We'll see this evening if I can lay down comfortably for a full night out on the rack. Talk to you before bed. Temperature's back down to normal. All right, it's not quite 6 hours later because I didn't stay up that long, but I am doing a lot better here. Yeah, got a really nice big dinner in me. You know, had some soup, had a sausage, had little English muffin, which is my comfort food whenever I'm feeling sick. Yeah, just a nice vegetable platter. If you're going through this, I gotta say, I know your body might feel like crap, but at least for me, just force yourself to eat proper meals. I don't know if that's the only thing doing it or if this is just the natural cycle, but I feel pretty fantastic. I might even be able to sleep on this side tonight. My whole body feels a whole lot better. Tiniest edge of a headache remaining. I don't know, just gonna keep, pushing those fluids and see how I am in the AM. Hopefully, no weird fever dreams tonight. All right, catch you in the morning. It's the next morning. I feel fantastic. Yeah, I think I'm past it. I'll tell you if it's anything different, but yeah, 12 hours after the jab, things started to get weird. 24 hours after that, shipshape. I'm going to go for a run. Take it easy. So yeah, that's my take on it. Again, everyone's body is different, right? You might not experience anything like what I experienced. But if you are the average person, kind of like people I've talked to, about 12 hours after the shot, you start to feel something. And then the next 24 hours is, not super pleasant. Nothing like having COVID, though. If I had to choose between having a Moderna reaction and having COVID, this is no one's actually curious about this, right? Like nothing's up for debate here. And remember, this is all 100% predictable and is understood by science. This is your immune system kicking into high gear. The first shot, your body gets kind of the blueprint and understands what COVID is and gets ready for it. The next shot is your body thinking that there's an infection to fight off, and it stands up the troops. And when your immunosystem response kicks in, that's when you feel run down and achy and awful. Not awful in the head. That was the weirdest part. So your body, at least mine, felt like crap, but nothing that you would associate with a flu, like no stuffiness, no runny nose, no sore throat, nothing going on up here except a mild headache. But my body felt done in. This is how we prepare to go to war, right? Like if you're going to have an army, you want to put that army through Hell Week. You're going to put them through boot camp and basic training, and they're going to have a DI shouting in their face. But all that pain and suffering means that if they ever actually have to repel hostile invaders, they know exactly which way to put the magazine in the rifle and put rounds on target and prosecute that enemy. Like, that's how immunoresponse works. That's how vaccines work in many cases. This is understood, this is normal, and this is completely healthy. So yeah, I want everyone to really understand, however you might worry about feeling the day after your vaccine cycle is complete, it's nowhere near as bad as your body would ever feel if you actually contracted COVID. It's a horrible disease. And it's also nowhere remotely near as bad as you would emotionally feel if you learned that someone in your immediate family group contracted COVID and it could have been you that passed it to them because you didn't do the right thing. You will be fine. This is exactly what we all have to go through. And it's mild. It's the next day, I was fine. If you're getting the shot in the morning like I did, quite frankly, you could probably put in a day's work that afternoon. If you have the option, though, be kind to yourself. See if you can take the next day off. Eat proper meals, even if you feel nauseated or something. Try to keep yourself a little bit upright and get some rest. If you need to sleep, go to sleep. You'll get through it really quickly and you'll bounce right back. And this is what we all go through to make things better. We will get better. We will get through this. I'm here for you. If you have any questions, put them down in the comments. I'll do my best to answer them. Do the right thing. Do the right thing for your loved ones and your communities. And of course, as always, stay safe out there.